Hey guys, so it's been a while, but I wanted to talk today about something that I've been kind of keeping to myself for a little bit, mostly because it's very personal and vulnerable to me. And if you aren't really into the concept that like people lived on other planets and have had past lives on other planets, this video might not be for you. So I wanted to talk today about how I've realized and had some past life recall. And I've been kind of keeping to myself because it sounds pretty out there. And I do know I'm a Pleiadian starseed. I channel the Pleiadians. I talk to my Pleiadian guide all the time. Um, but this is even more, a little bit more wacky than that. And so I feel a little vulnerable talking about it, but I feel like I've recently heard other people talk about this. In fact, Megan Rose talked about this in her recent book I just gotten read. And so I'm feeling like people don't think I'm that crazy. Other people are talking about it. So I'm just going to share. So I've come to realize that before this life in this body as Vanessa, I lived a life in the Pleiades right before this, on a planet called Era off the Taygeta star. And I've known from my guide telling me that I'm from Era for a long time. Even before I came across Elena Denon and her book where she's from Era, and the blonde Pleiadians are from there. I had met my Pleiadian guide, Raina. She's blonde from Era. And I'd met her, and I have TikTok videos where I'd talk about her and I'd talk about being from Era, even before I even heard of any other blonde Pleiadians from Era. So anyway, I had known we're from Era, me and my Pleiadian guide Raina, and I think Raina is my higher self, or she's me, if that makes sense. She's like my same soul, but from another facet, another life. So, anyways, I've learned that and I've had lives in other places. I've had some lives in Sirius. I had some lives in Lyra, but most of my lives are in the Pleiades. But I always wondered why I just feel like a Pleiadian. I feel like I resonate so much with Era. Just hearing about it from anyone else talking about it, it just like lights my soul on fire, and I'm like, that's where I'm from. That's who I am, and I just get like sparks about it because I think I've had lives in Sirius B too, but it doesn't have the same effect. I really feel like I'm from there. So, anyways, I have had some recollection that before this life, I was a Pleiadian in Era. I was a tall woman. I had blonde hair down to here, and really big eyes. And I've met her before. I've met her in meditation or astral projection or whatever you want to call it. I've met her before consciously. Reina, that's what she looks like, and that's what I think Raina is me when I was in the Pleiades. Like when I talk to Raina, it's like talking to myself, to be honest, like my higher self. So anyway, but I'm just figuring it all out by myself. But anyway, I lived in the Pleiades, and then there's a call to the Galactic Federation of Worlds did to everyone. All of us have heard, where they started the Envoy program, which asked people to leave where they were at and come be born in Earth bodies. And it's my understanding that some people passed away and then did that, but I didn't do that. I actually left my body, my Pleiadian body, in stasis and had, I guess, my light body escorted to this body when I was, in my mom's stomach or born or whatever. Um, so I didn't die. I have a body in the Pleiades in stasis right now, and I assume when I pass away, I'm going to go back to that body. And it's such a crazy thought. I had people ask me with all my Pleiadian experiences, am I in stasis like Elena talks about, apparently? And I've always been like, I don't know. And I've asked my guides and they've never really given me an answer. And I think for a long time they were trying to protect me from that information because it has been quite a bit to process, to be honest. And I've been really asking for my Pleiadian memories back. I have some, but I've been asking for more and more lately. And within the last few months, this came to me, and I've just been processing it. Another crazy, because and when it first hit me, let me tell you about when this first past life memory hit me. Someone had mentioned it on something I was watching, and I was like, oh, bodies in stasis, that's such a crazy idea. And something in my soul, like my mind didn't react. I was like, oh, that's so interesting. And something in my soul was like, whoa, like something, like I just felt this deep, deep feeling like, oh, like it was like a revelation, like, oh my God. And it's funny because my conscious mind was like, why am I feeling like this? This is crazy. And I realized that it was just like my soul hurt, my heart hurt. I missed someone so much. And I realized what triggered this memory. I missed my son on the Pleiades. I have an adult son on the Pleiades, and I can't contact him. I've tried to contact him, but we have like this link of the heart, so I know he exists, and I remembered him. But I feel like there must be some sort of law or something, or maybe he's just so far in the Pleiades, but I can't telepathically talk to him. But I know he exists, and the reason I got this past life memory is I got a kitten lately. I got a kitten who's a boy, and I've just been like, my son this, my baby son, about my kitten, and I keep saying my son, my son, my son, and it's just been drilled in my head lately, oh, I have a son now. And anyway, when I had this like sudden whoosh of emotions about the stasis pods, I decided to meditate and get into my like, trance state to talk to my guides about it really clearly. So I get in this trance state, and they revealed to me like, yes, you're actually in a stasis pod, your body's in the Pleiades. And then I was like, I have a son. I remember I have a son. And for weeks after this, it's making me tear up right now, actually. Whew. Oh man, it's so hard to talk about. For weeks after this, every single time I remembered or tried to think about my son I have on the Pleiades, I would just start crying, like this deep, it's such a deep missing I have for him. Oh my God, this is so embarrassing. I didn't mean to cry, but I mean it. Every single time I think about him, I can't control it. I just start crying because I miss him so much. And I think my guides for the longest time kept this information from me because they didn't want me to like long to go home or be off mission, because I'm here for a mission. I'm here for a reason. And I think for a while, just for my protection, they kept this from me, and I totally get it, because every time I think about him, I start crying. Woo! And I'm not even that big a crier. Like, this is so crazy to me right now. I never do this. Whew. Okay, but I'm gonna stop talking about him because it makes me cry. But it's funny, we remember stuff, even if your memories, you remember stuff that is emotionally important to you. And so I want to talk about, if you want to remember past life memories, they're usually tied to some big emotion. I've spoken to my guides, and I've asked them, like, does everybody do the stasis pod thing? And I don't think everyone does. I think some people pass away, and when they're in the spirit realm, they decided to come to the Envoy program. But I actually do think a lot of people, especially from my planet era, have decided to do that. I also find it really interesting that my guides tried to protect me from it for a long time. So I was asking for past life memories, and I was telling myself I'm going to remember past life memories, and I've been really working really hard to get my Pleiadian past lives back, and I've just been hit with them. But it's more like my guides were like, okay, if you're asking for them. But they have been kind of interesting. I think your guides do stuff like that to protect you. Also, I find it really interesting that I'm a psychic for a living. I telepathically talk to beings all the time. I can't talk to my son. I don't know if he's just so far in the Pleiades that it's just too much of a distance. I don't know if I'm not allowed to. I don't know if on the Envoy program they tell your home family they can't talk to you, but it's weird to me that I'm so close to him and miss him so much, but it's like a wall. I can't talk to him, which is peculiar. But anyway, I just thought I would share. If you guys have any questions about the Envoy program or the Stasis Pod thing, please share. I'm just trying to figure this all out on my own. So I'll keep updating you as I get my updates. But thanks for watching, and yeah, please give me your questions.